Hey guys, what's up? It's Katie. Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm going to be talking about 10 things that you need in your dorm and 10 things you just don't. So I just finished my first semester in college as a freshman. I lived in a suite style dorm. Here are some pictures of what my dorm looked like. This is what my room looked like, and this is what my suite area looked like. But also, if you want to watch a full tour of my dorm, it's at the end of my college vlog, which I'll put in the little information tab up there, so you should totally go check it out. It's a great video. Also, all this is like my personal opinion. Obviously, there's some people that are going to need these things, some people that aren't going to need these things, but it's just a good place to get started because you don't want to be buying unnecessary items or anything like that. But yeah, here we go. Okay, the first thing you need is a good hamper system, and I mean either a hamper that you can wear as a backpack or one that you can roll. Because my roommate had one with a backpack and I did not, and it was just really hard for me to get my hamper down to the laundry room. I had to like drag it on the floor or like carry it like a sack to the elevator, and it's just so much better if you either have one with wheels, like a basket with wheels, or like a bag that you can put on your back. Just some sort of way to easily move your laundry to the laundry room and back is so necessary. Number 2, a floor length mirror. So I got one from Target and it was literally $10, and I brought it to college, and I'm just so glad that we have it. It is so nice to be able to like look at our outfits every day in the mirror, just have like a once over. It just, you don't realize how much you miss it until you don't have it. It's just so nice to have. The next thing you need is Downy Wrinkle Release. Here, I have some right here. Okay, this stuff has saved my life. It is basically something that you can spray onto your clothes when they're wrinkly, and then like you stretch it out and like you floop it around, and it will remove the wrinkles for you without having to iron or steam it. This thing is great because it's way more compact. You don't have to heat up anything. You don't have to steam anything. It's way faster. It's cheaper probably in the long run. So I just feel like it's such an essential, and it's so cheap. I recommend that every college student who doesn't want wrinkly clothes buys it. Next up is alternative lighting. This is incredibly important because the lighting in your dorm is gonna be awful. We have one light in our dorm room, and it's like a circle on the wall, and it gives off like little to no light. My roommate calls it a boob light because it literally looks like a boob, and it is horrible. We never even turn that thing on. We each have our own little vanity mirrors, and then we each have a lamp. So it's just really important to have some sort of lamp because you cannot trust whatever lighting your dorm is gonna give you on its own. Okay, next thing is command hooks. I have so many command hooks in my dorm that I use for hanging various things, mainly like for towels, washcloths, robes, jackets, bags, hanging things up. You're not gonna really have access to hardly any hooks, so having extras by using command hooks is so important. I will say sometimes they do fall, especially if they're like expired, so try to make sure you don't get expired ones. I also have some of the over the door ones, which I use on my closet, and those ones are way stronger than the command hooks, so I recommend getting a couple of over the door ones and then the rest just to get regular command hooks. Totally worth it. So many command strips are being used in our dorm at all times. I'm not really going to count this one as an official number. Just a little side note, get a bunch of Dayquil and NyQuil because the first semester of college, we went through it. The 4 of us in our dorm room were sick a lot. It really hit us the most in like October and November with just like a cold, and then the cold just kind of lasted a long time, and people were always drinking Dayquil and NyQuil, so just stock up on that now so you don't have to like try to figure out when to get it when you're already sick. Just have it so that you can power through your days and so that you can get better faster. Now I'm going to talk about dishes. So there are 2 different essentials depending on if you have a sink in your dorm or not. If you do have a sink in your dorm, I do think having dishes is worth it because it just saves money and there's not gonna be as much waste. It's just way better. In this case, I recommend getting a little dish mat, like a little drying mat, or else it's just gonna be really gross to leave them on the sink. But if you don't have your own sink in the dorm, I recommend just sticking to paper plates. Okay, next one is a good fan. I feel like this is pretty obvious, but my fan is literally my favorite thing that I have in my dorm. It moves like 360. Yeah, It's pretty awesome. But yeah, just you need a fan for airflow and for warmth. Or sorry, for cooling. Fun little story. We returned to our dorm after Thanksgiving break and it was hot. It was like 99 degrees in there. I don't even know how, but like something with our heater was broken and we had all the fans going and we had like all the windows open. So yeah, you just never know what's gonna happen and you need to have airflow. So like a fan and also like an air purifier, definitely necessary. Okay, next, I feel like everybody says this, but it is true, a good mattress topper really can make a difference in your sleep. I have this brand new mattress topper that my parents got for me and it is so nice and it honestly like is more comfortable than my bed at home, so I love it. The dorm beds are not going to give you a lot of support on their own, so just having a mattress topper is going to really make or break your dorm bed experience. This next one might seem extra, but a toolbox. So I have this little toolbox that my dad bought for me because he was like, you never know when you're gonna need a toolbox, and I was like, okay, Dad, sure. I'll put this in my closet at school. But actually I have used it multiple times. The main time I used it was when I was changing out our shower head and I used like the wrench. But like one time somebody came to our dorm and asked to borrow a tool, like the toolbox, because they needed it as well. It's just like so nice to be the one with the toolbox. So this is not necessarily like an everyone has to buy this thing, but just between you and whoever you're living with, if one person has a toolbox, that's a good idea. Last but not least for things that you need is a long charger. So I have these charging cords that are like 6 feet, I think, 6 or 10 feet, and it is super useful because you're gonna be running a cord from like the floor to like your bed. So super important to have long cords. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, but you just never have to worry about your cord being too short. All right, moving forward with the things that you do not need in your dorm, things you might think you need, but you don't. Okay, this first one is like a little bed shelf. So I bought one of these for my dorm, and not only did it not fit on my bed, I just felt like I just did not need it because I had a bedside table already. Now, if you don't have a bedside table, then I maybe would recommend getting one of those because it would take the place of the bedside table. Or if you are planning on being on the top bunk of a bunk bed, then I do think this is necessary. However, if you're not gonna be on the top of a bunk bed, I just think it's too much. It's gonna be clanky, and you're already gonna have space on your bedside table to put your things. However, I do think this could be necessary in certain situations, but for me, I just didn't need it and I ended up not using it. Next, I have a blender or like extra appliances, like kitchen appliances. We do have a coffee maker and a microwave, and those I do think we use all the time. However, we don't use a blender, a toaster, or any like extra air fryer, none of that stuff. You're gonna go to your dining hall more than you're gonna be cooking in your dorm because you're paying for a meal plan, so it just seems like pointless to me to do a ton of cooking back at the dorm, also when you don't even have a kitchen. So next up is like expensive decorations. I didn't really buy a lot of expensive decorations myself, but like I was tempted to, and I feel like I really didn't not need to buy anything expensive. Really just bring what you already have in your room as decorations because clearly you like these things, so just bring some of that stuff and then maybe buy like a few things to put on your wall. If you want to spruce up your style, totally can, but think about it like you're gonna be living in this room for only a year, like not even a full year of your life. Just take what you have with you and buy a few new things, and then when you move to your new space, you can do the same thing again. It just feels pointless to buy like a bunch of expensive things like specifically for this one dorm. Just bring stuff that's gonna carry over to your future. And then this one kind of goes in the same line, but buying posters is kind of unnecessary when you can find ways around it. For example, like I bought like a couple of posters at like the poster sale at school, which was fun, but was more expensive. Whereas my roommate just like printed out like pictures off of Pinterest, like at like CVS or something, and she spent way less money than me. So I think that's the way to go. Honestly, print things out. You're gonna get your money's worth more that way than buying full-size posters to put on your wall, because honestly, no one's gonna know the difference anyway, and they're just so expensive. It really adds up when you're putting a lot of posters up. Next thing that I personally think you don't need are those like multi-hanger things. I personally just never used them. My mom got them for me. Love you, Mom, thank you, but I didn't end up needing them, and I found them quite annoying. It was just annoying to have to like peer through and try to get something out from like my multi-hanger, and also just took up so much vertical space that I ended up using for other things in my closet instead. Okay, this one I think a lot of people also say, but a lot of stuffed animals and pillows, you just don't need it. I have a little like hammock thing that I put some of my stuffed animals in just so I can have them up there for cute looks, but I don't have them actually on my bed really, because you're gonna become annoyed with having to like, whenever you make your bed, having to like stack like 50 stuffed animals. Like, it's gonna be too much. You're not gonna have space for that. You're not gonna want them in your bed when you're trying to sleep. I'd honestly just take 1 or 2 good ones and then leave the rest at home. Kind of along that same line, too much unnecessary clothes. You don't want to bring like a bunch of like wear around the house shirts or like sleep shirts, because you're just not going to need that much and you have limited space in your wardrobe. That being said, I did bring a lot of clothes to college and I don't necessarily regret that, because you are living there. So like, it's not like you're on a vacation, like you're living there, so you're gonna want to bring your wardrobe there. However, I do feel like I could have not brought a lot of things. I ended up sending a lot of stuff back because I just felt like, whoa, like I don't have space for all this, and some of this stuff I just rarely wear. And when you're living in a smaller space, you just need to be more careful and just bring your favorites, I think. So I did leave some stuff back at home when I came back to school. Again, along the same lines is too many shoes, especially dressy shoes. You really are almost never gonna want to wear dressy shoes. I don't think I ever did wear heels, and I brought like 2 or 3 pairs. So just bring 1 pair of nice shoes and that's it. The rest of your shoes, just bring shoes that you're gonna be comfy and like stylish, because you're not gonna want to wear like fancy shoes like really ever. Like, I brought probably too many shoes. So next up is a printer. I never had heard of anybody bringing a printer, but I saw like when I was doing research for this video, people talking about printers. You definitely don't need a printer. That just seems like a huge cost. And like, for what, you know? Huge cost when they literally have printing in my dorm building and at the library and so many places. You don't need one in your room and you're not gonna really use it that much. Like, I think I printed something like once my whole semester I was there, so just not necessary. And last but not least, we have a steamer. I do have like a mini steamer that I do sometimes use, but in general, I don't think it's necessary to buy a big steamer when you could just use this stuff. So yeah, wrapping it back up with the Downy wrinkle release. I just feel like the steamer is a lot to set up. It's kind of a hazard because it's gonna be like have boiling water in it and everything. It's just a lot when you could just use wrinkle release or just put your clothes away immediately and then they won't be wrinkly. I do not do that though. I let them sit for a long time, and that's why I need this. Well, that's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching, and let me know if you want any more college related content. I'm gonna be filming some more videos while I'm home over break. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!